So this is gonna start recording. Before we continue, I sent you guys GitHub invites. I don't know if you got the emails for it. Um, yeah, it should be in your emails. Yeah. So I have a private repo here. Just now. You should have it now. Yeah, you should have gotten it. I see you're already in GitHub, so that should have sent it to you. And Berman Fa, I use your email, so look in your inbox. That's fine. Let's just get through this session and then we're gonna rework your computer. Yeah. Um, Let me see. What does it say exactly? Yeah, gotcha. This one, right? You don't need it. It's a website, and it'll make sense now because we're just gonna go today. We're gonna go over some basic Git commands, and we'll go in the end. We'll go over a bit of Java, but it'll be enough where you guys could start doing problems. Yeah, and if it asks you to sign up to, I mean, if it asks you a bunch of questions, you try to skip them all. You could fill that in later. None of that matters. Okay. All right. I see. Berm. How's it going? All right. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, you're good. Okay. Everyone is here. Everyone's a collaborator. All right, we're good. Okay. So we're gonna use this repo that I created. Um, it's called Java Review, and um, I hear echoes. If you guys go on mute for a second, they say anytime you're not talking, yeah, just go on mute. Yeah. Okay. So So we're gonna use this repo right here, and this is just for Java, and just think of it as just think of it as a code sharing platform. Like for those that don't know, obviously Ish is pretty familiar with it. But what I did here is, if you see these files right here, let me bring up Eclipse. It's pretty reminiscent of the code or the introductory project that anytime you create, a Java project right here. You see the source folder. You see this source folder. The binary folder, Eclipse just hides some of it. That's why you're not seeing all of it. But basically all I did was create a new project here. Did nothing to it. This is just how you begin a Java class file. It's a simple hello world class file. And you got the main method right here. And I did nothing to it. All I did was generate it with Eclipse in my local machine. And I pushed it here. And if I open it, you'll see the same exact thing, hello world.java with nothing inside, right? And the idea is we could now start collaborating on it together. And again, like I'm about to, go through with this, but don't worry about taking any notes because obviously we're recording, and I'm gonna have a bunch of notes for you after. Just pay attention, and then I'm gonna keep this, this diatribe short because I do want you guys to like get into the habit of working right after like a 5-10 minute brief of whatever we're talking about. So I already, pre-made the branches for you, and I'll explain what branches are in just a second. Let me actually get a visual for you guys. Oh, hang on. All right, it's kind of jumpy, but that's fine. You guys can see this, right? You can say yes or no. Yeah. Okay. So I'll explain what this means in just a second. So this should just give you a structure of how Git handles what we call branches. So you didn't see the whole creation process of it. And you see berm is just a default branch name. This all makes sense in just a second. So what happens is anytime you create a new repository, right? You want to put your code up, right? The very first branch Git automatically creates for you is called the master branch. I didn't create this, they just do it for me, right? And when I had the master branch and nothing else, clearly I didn't have this ish fa berm branch, right? I had the master branch. That's when I pushed it. I pushed it right after generating the code here, right? And this is what you have. And ideally what I'm trying to do right now is each of you have your own branches in which you're going to work, right? So basically what I did, and don't worry about the specific code I did it with, because that all comes later. All you do have to know is just have like a high level view of it, in that just think of it in a natural word sense. Like I'm talking about a master branch, and what I did was I replicated the same exact code here, and all I did was, if I click on it, right, let's say I go to ish branch, it's the same exact thing, right now I'm in branch ish. I went out of master, I went to ish, and you see the same exact code, same thing as berm. You're all starting with in the same template. I have this master branch right here, and I'm saying I want to take the exact same things I have here and I want to pull it to those branches, right? And the idea is none of you are gonna, anything you push right into the bucket here, none of it is gonna intermingle with, like, if Berm is pushing his code into his own branch, that's not gonna mess around with what Fa is doing, because he's gonna specify what he's doing. And I didn't set permissions yet, so you do have to be a little careful. Right now, for instance, what I mean by that is if Ish wanted, he could push code into Berm's branch, because I just created the accounts now and I didn't set the permissions. But the general idea is that shouldn't be the case. Like, I'm gonna set the permissions right after, where Ish can't push into Berm's branch and Fa can't push into Ish's branch, etc. Right? So anytime from now on where you create new code, you're going to put it into your own branch, and that's how I'm going to review it. And that visual I presented to you earlier, it shows you just that. So you had the master branch, right? That gets generated ASAP. That's just what Git does for you from off the bat, right? And me, I manually created the ish branch, the Fa branch, the berm branch. The master branch contains the Java code that we generated with Eclipse, and then we're just saying just copy this and bring it here, copy this, bring it here, copy this, bring it here. And this I'll get into later, but basically what the idea of it is here, Ish could take his branch and branch off that branch to create a new one, right? So if he doesn't want to tamper with the work that's good here, right? Let's say he's a little weary about something he wants to code, right? And he doesn't want to push to this one right away because this should ideally contain his finalized code. He could branch off and experiment here. If he likes what he's doing here, he could merge it. But again, don't get too weary on the details just yet. Just watch the process as it goes along. So let's start. Like we did yesterday, you guys should all have Git in your machines. So try this. Open up your terminal. And I don't expect all of you to have the commands memorized just yet, but you'll have to do it over the upcoming week. And just type this cd squiggly / desktop. So I'll wait for everyone to get that page. And I do want some participation, so you guys could unmute and mute, because I'm going to ask questions, because that's the best way to pick up details instead of hearing me. So yeah, what was that? Say again. You see right here? Is the font too small? All right, let me I got you. Don't worry. Yeah, and I'll show you why. How about now, Fa? Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me show you why. So what I just did there, right now I'm in what? Where am I right now via the terminal? Like we talked about yesterday. Like if I were to type ls, right? If you guys could remember what ls is, it shows all the files in the folder I'm currently in. What would it show? Yeah, your desktop, right? The desktop. Oh yeah, now yeah, you're right. Now I'm in here. Right here I'm in the desktop, right? Right. So what I did just yeah, yeah, exactly. So what I did just now, this is just a shorthand for going one step back. And let's see what's in here. Yeah. So you see the desktop folder right here, right? So that's actually the big kind of like framework you have to wrap your mind around. Like we see the desktop right when we open the laptop, right? That's you see the graphics user interface, you see all your shortcuts, and that's how you have it framed in your mind as like this is where the computer file system begins. But that's not really the case. Like if I type pwd, you see all these things leading up to eventually the desktop, and the desktop is really just a folder, right? So, and if I wanted to cd into it, and you were asking me if the cap matters, it does, because if I say desktop, actually, you might be right. Let me see. No, I guess it does recognize it, but in general, it is probably auto-corrected after it saw that there is a desktop option. But in general, you got to stay pretty close to how you want it. So let's get back. Yeah. All right. So everyone is in desktop right now, and to verify, just make sure all your shortcuts in your home screen match. All right. And now I want you guys to create a workspace folder on that desktop. Do you guys remember how to do that? Everyone good with that? No, it doesn't matter. But it was this, yeah. I'd rather call it workspace. I already have it here. Yeah, call it workspace and then go into that folder. You remember how to do that? Everyone? Just call it out if you forget. Let me see. It was CD, change directory. It's just something you'll pick up. I'll have a shortcut list and eventually you'll pick up. Um, no, I got you. Actually, a better idea might be to let me actually put on all the commands in the general chat. I don't expect you have to have memorized it, but as I go to it, I'll probably tell you to do something and just refer to the cheat sheet for now. Um, yeah. So CD, LS, PWD, MKDIR. This was what we went over so far. So if I say to do something, just take some time and look back and reconstruct what you remember as. This is the Git commands. I'm just putting that for later. All right. All right. Let's go into workspace. So that several workspaces here. I'm gonna go to Code Boost for me. And you guys could create another folder called Code Boost inside the in workspace. Just so in case in the future you use that for another purpose. So I'll go into Code Boost. Yeah. And don't mind Code Boost 2021, that's just for me. All right, now look into the teams for a second. Oh, that's just for me. I'm just getting used. So let's say, yeah, that was a good question. I get so reflexive with this that I forget when I'm using it because it becomes like second nature. So sometimes I do need to like visualize it, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because sometimes the terminal isn't great. Like I don't want to have to constantly click type ls. So if I type open dot, whatever the folder I'm in, that opens it, right? So right now I'm in CodeBoost 2021, and if I type open dot, I'm in another screen, so you can't see it right away. So this is what it opens for me. Just to make sure there's nothing in there. So you guys should be in Code Boost. Yeah, yeah, that should happen to you too. No, you have to be in the folder actually. Yeah, yeah. So let me know when you guys are all in the Code Boost folder. It should be empty because nothing's inside just yet. Yeah, file burn. Yeah, yeah. I mean, a good way to. I'm glad you brought that up, and a good way to think of it because a lot of these, I had these exact same questions when I was first learning it. Some of it sounded counterintuitive. The reason why is because you're used to like opening something by like looking at the folder, right? So if I'm looking something and you're thinking like, all right, why is that from here I can't say open Code Boost Dark Sky, right? And actually you can. I mean, there are a lot of options. So let me give you an example. If I typed open interview, right? See the interview. And this keeps popping up on my other screen so you can't see it like automatically. But try that. Like go back one, right? By typing cd dot dot and type ls to see the or the folders. For you guys it should be Code Boost because that's all you have. And then try open Code Boost. Well, no, you see, think of it like this. No, it works for Fob because he's out of it. So uh, just to specify the difference, Berm. So if I'm going in, think of it like this. So I'm going into my Code Boost folder, right? And the thing with how these terminal commands work is they take it very literally, right? So if I type open um, Code Boost, it'll look for a folder called Code Boost inside, right? It'll search for it. But obviously, if you're inside that folder, there's no Code Boost, right? But if you say open dot, that's a very generic command, right? That means think of it like since it's generic, in any folder you're in, it'll just open what's inside, right? Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, you can. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Let's try that. No, that's a yeah. No, that's where actually now you'll start seeing like the flexibility of using the terminal. Let's try that. Say again. Yeah, yeah. Because it's generic, right? Like imagine if you had a file in your desktop called video games, right? If I type open dot, how does it know what you're referring to, right? The next best option is to think, all right, so he's saying open dot, he's not specifying a folder, so what's the next best thing for me? Like in terms of from the terminal, what is it thinking? Just open the folder you're inside, right? Because that's all the information it has. You get it? Yeah. Yeah. So no, let's address the Berm's question for a second. So let me see. So right now, where am I? I'm in Code Boost. I'm in this folder, right? And let's say I want to open Code Boost 2021. So let's go back. So now I'm not even in this Code Boost folder. I'm looking from the outside in, even from this. So into this and then into this. And let's say I want to open this. Can you guys think of, I don't know, how I would go about it? Say from here where I'm at right now, which is the workspace folder, right? And this is not this is the Code Boost folder, right? Let me even. That's close, but CD puts you in a directory, right? I just want to straight up open it. I don't even want to go through the step of changing into a directory. Keep going. What was that? That's it. So yeah, so I see Code Boost, right? So yeah, so it opens directly to it. So these little like intricate, yeah, what were you gonna say? Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's like infinite variation. So clearly this method, like in your first line of thought is this is like really complicated for no reason. Like it's much easier just to, click a folder. But that's what you give up by using it through the GUI. You're giving up all that control. Like, yeah, you won't ever use this really, honestly. But like, the more you GUI's graphics user interface, which is, yeah, anytime you see like like anything graphical and not text based, because this is how like computers started, right? There was no GUI. It's um right. So there's advantages to both. Like this is clearly more user intuitive, but the terminal gives you a lot more control. That's why once you're good at it, it just becomes second nature. That's why you see me using commands without even explaining it to you guys, because it's kind of becomes like a second limb. But let's go back to this folder. So okay, how would I go into the right now? I opened it, right? Am I in this folder though? Right now? Via the terminal? Where am I? Yeah, but what do you think it is from what we discussed? You're right. That's how I would find out what folder I'm in. You remember the path to it? Yeah, okay. So what was the folder right before Code Boost? Yeah, yeah. I mean, you get it. It's workspace. Yeah, but that was basically it. So I'm still in the workspace folder, right? Because I use the open command and not the CD command, I'm still what? I'm still in the same location I was in the beginning, right? Yeah. So let's say I want to jump right to this. How would I do it? Close would just be like, from the terminal's viewpoint, just Xing it out. Yeah. So how would I jump right to this? Yeah. Yeah. Just shout out the answers. No, but remember, I want to do it all through the terminal, and that's if I just wanted to open it. But I want to. This is just to help you guys visualize it. But remember, I want to stay in this terminal. So how would I? Yep. Yeah. So remember, I want to see. Remember the short. See, I accidentally typed this, and now it's gonna like go in this funk and not let you complete it. So that's kind of the downside of it. But remember this. Let me put it in Teams so you never forget, because it's very easy to mistype something and not know how to get out of this. So let me put that in Teams, and I'll consolidate all these little tiny points in a huge thing like a file here. So don't worry, I'll put all that later. But for now, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is something. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everything I'm using so far is just extremely common. Yeah. So you see, I just clicked that command I put in Teams, Control C. Say again. PWD for what? Print working directory. So print, like you gotta kind of get you like, they can, a lot of times the original developers might have not even given it the best names, right? But they're so right. No, no, I got you. So yeah, so a lot of times, like you want to break it down. Print working directory, right? So what do you think the print part means? Yeah, just to write like wherever I'm in right now, right? And what does working directory mean? You're in, right? Like working directory. It could be a random directory. It could be a directory I'm not using, but I'm using a working directory. Yeah, exactly. Like wherever you are right now, that's why it's like so second nature to me because it's important, right? Every time I'm doing something, I want to make sure I'm in the right place, right? And with the GUI, you're so used to, all right, I'm clearly in the right place. I'm looking it through a visual aid. But the terminal, you don't have that luxury. At any time, you could be at like, let me show you. Like, where am I now? I don't even know, right? That'll tell you. I'm in the users directory. And just like the desktop directory, just like the code boost directory, I can open that up and you see users and whatever the file is here, right? And if you guys want, let's even like, go into it and show you how it's basically the same thing. So in this users directory, if I double click that, see, I could go into that folder right there. Exact same thing, exact same folders. If I go into my desktop, no, it doesn't. And that's like that huge distinction because this is very irrespective. Like once a terminal session is, in, and if you want to think of it this way, there's nothing stopping me from creating a new terminal, right? So right there, I just generated a new terminal. Just like, think of it like a new window session, right? Just like I could be in the desktop folder here and desktop folder here. Where am I right now? I'm in the Motion Chowdhury directory, and let me get it. So now I'm in the users Motion Chowdhury library directory, right? Two separate things, two different terminals. Just they call it two different instances of the same program, right? Slight variations. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's move on to um, let's go back to all right. So now we're in the empty directory, and I'll keep having that visual aid on because I know this is like a little uncomfortable to get into first because I want to open this, but to give you guys that visual aid, it's a good idea. All right, now since you're all in, I want you guys to start cloning, but I wanted you to clone it in a specific way where you're only touching the branches that belong to you because again, I didn't put in the necessary permissions that prevent ish from messing around with files. So I know you can't do that just yet. So do this. Go to your respective Java Review homepage. Wait, no, not just yet. But let me know if you could see. Make sure you could see this Java Review project. Everyone can see it, right? So you see settings, bin, run search. Okay. Um, you're not, but it doesn't matter right now. Like all this is doing, that was a good thing to bring up. I know it says burn, but that's only because that's the regular default branch. That's just what the user sees. But that's a good question. Why? Because if I open that, this is the important piece I was going to tell you guys about to do. You see, if I look at this URL, there's no indication of this being in the burn branch, so we're good, right? Because this is the important piece we need, and they even have a whole copy button. So all I did is hit code, and you see that copy URL link. And because this URL has no indication of berm, you're safe. Like if you click copy now, yeah, it says berm here, but that's just for the interface. I could just be in 5 if I wanted, or ish or master. It doesn't matter, right? What's gonna happen is you're actually gonna download all of these, right? All the berm ish file branches, right? That's fine. You can have like the option for that. I don't care if you, I should say, I don't care if you clone Faz branch if you're Berm. I don't care about that. I just don't want you to push your, like, if I were Fa, I don't want, my code affecting Berm. The push part is the important part. Me as, like, the product manager, I don't want the codes intermingling. But it's fine if you, clone each other's branches. So what I want you guys to do is hit code and just hit this, copy. So once you do that, it's as simple as typing this command, git clone, right? So that's a command, and like with any other command, it needs a parameter. What parameter do you think this needs? Yep, right. Yeah, not the workspace because we just created a code boost folder, right? Yeah, yeah. So prefer to be in that, just in case you decide to put more stuff in the workspace folder later. No, like you're talking about if you had to open it through you mean like this? No, no, remember, the only reason I'm having this up is just to give you that visual aid, but this is completely irrelevant, really. As long as you're here, I could have done everything just through the terminal. I don't have to even go out of it. It's a separate session. So, back to the original statement, git clone and copy paste it, and then hit enter. And you see right away it updates just as it would in the terminal. So what we just did was the terminal worked and, sorry. So what just happened is the clone process went through the terminal, and all you see here is the actual code, right? So before, where you didn't have this code, now you should have the code in the machine. And it's an obvious question is like, why not just download the code? And there are options. Like I could download it as a zip file, but you're gonna miss out on a lot of features if you do that. Through the No, I didn't do anything else. This is for me. Let me have a separate window. It's just for me to, just a bad habit. That's just for like verification purposes. Let me have a separate thing terminal so I don't mess you guys up. Okay. Now we're ready to import the project, right? You see it. You should see it in. Just type ls once to make sure that Java review folder is in and it's ready to be used. And just give me a confirmation. All right. All right. Perfect. All right. Let me delete this because I was working on something earlier. Right now, you want to import that code because remember, Java code can exist on its own, not irrespective of the IDE. So you want to pull up Eclipse now. So I'll wait until everyone gets that up. Yeah, everyone else. Yeah. All right, now you want to import, right? Yep. Go ahead. Okay. Berm, you're good. All right. Yeah, yeah. So you should stay in the Eclipse workspace. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just that you remember that file path I told you guys to remember from yesterday, right? And this, I'll keep opening up random terminals just to not interrupt this original process. See, I don't even remember the Eclipse workspace. I think it was library ls. Yeah, you could close it, but there was a path. See, I don't even remember the Eclipse workspace location. That's fine. But usually it saves that for you. Yeah, you're like, remember when I told Brum to screenshot it? It's because I always forget it. And if you ever want to reach to it through the terminal, that's the only way to do it. But that's fine. Just close off your hello world. Doesn't really matter because we're creating a new project essentially. So all that is relevant for now. So let me know when you're ready. Okay. Now click File and click Import. And click General. Okay. Now click Existing Projects into Workspace. Okay. Now click Browse. Everyone good so far? Is that what it called it? Yeah, Java Review. You're already on it? Yeah, yeah. So you want to nav? No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll go to the very start. So File, Import, General, Existing Projects into Workspace. I'm gonna double click this, and then you want to click Browse because you want to find that file that's right here. You want to find Java Review. You want to help, Eclipse to find it because it hasn't recognized it yet. They're two different entities. So then you select Java Review because you need to specify all of that, right? So let me go in, Desktop, Workspace, Code Boost. For me, it's Code Boost 2021, and click it. Don't now you'll see bin and src. You don't click any of that, right? Because then it, you know, I'm glad you guys pitch in random questions like that because it's good to see that distinction. If I click bin, what do you think would happen? Yeah, anything inside the bin folder, but what is it going to ultimately ignore? Yeah, source. So it's not even going to pull in source, which is mandatory, right, for the Java code to function. So you want to give the parent folder structure its time and get the rest in. All right, now when you're ready, just click open. So it'll recognize all that, and then just click finish. If you get a pop-up, just click OK. And now you should have the Code Boost intro project in your machine. And like you guys saw, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just about to. Why do you think that is? Yeah, yeah. So can you think you can move into the other branch if you wanted? Yeah, you can, right? Because it's like I said, once you clone it, you're cloning all the projects. Like in a regular real world project, you'll see hundreds of branches for different stories, like hundreds, and you never know at any point in time. It could be some random point in time. You might want to, go back to an early point where the code might have been doing exhibiting some kind of bit. You never know, right? So you're essentially that's all saved here, and anytime you're cloning all its history. And this is nothing, right? But you want that flexibility. You never know when you might need it, right? So now what I want you guys to do, since Berm is the default, he won't need to do anything, but I do want you to, exercise it right away, either way. So I want you to go right click on that folder. Once you see it here, right click on it, then type show. Let me delete hello world for me. No, I'm deleting my other folder. So you only see this one project. This is the one we just cloned. Don't delete this. If you makes it easier for you, I only did it just not to confuse you guys. All right, let me know when you're ready. You guys are all good, right? I didn't do anything yet. I'm starting now. So, all right. So you want to right click that, go all the way down to show in, and this extra options that pop up, click on System Explorer. And I just did this to open up the GUI. So you see how it open? That's just the Eclipse's own way of bringing you back to where this project is actually located. And I did it just to show you because sometimes it's just easier to do it this way. And usually how I do it, and this is the way I'm teaching you, right? So you can actually interact between terminal and the file system. So if I want to go to this, right, this is a simple like a quick little cheat sheet kind of thing that you guys should kind of get used to. So I'll pick CD just like because I want to CD into it. And because I don't know the path to this, well, I do know because we did it. But let's say I didn't. Let's say I didn't want to go back and find out where this Code Boost 2021 folder is. You just drag that folder you're looking for and you drag it over into the terminal, and then it does it for you. So do that, and then hit enter. Yep. Let me do it again. So I want to go. So I want to go into this Java review folder, right? This is where all the code resides, right? But I don't want to. But I don't want to, go back into the Finder and find out where the file path is. Because remember, the terminal needs that file path, right? So it's just a quick way to get to this folder without finding that information out. You do CD as you regularly would, and you just drag and drop right into the terminal. And you see what just got generated, right? The exact file path. Yeah, you just hit enter. And now you're inside, right? And then type in git branch. And then hit enter. And then you'll see that even though it says it's the default branch, I'm actually not, well, okay, I do know why they do it. It's because, so since I, type git branch, you're thinking, all right, why is it berm if I, just a second ago, I said, in actuality, we have the information for FOSS branch, issues branch, the master branch. Why do you guys think it's only showing berm right now? It's not really a trick question. Say again? We're on it, but I could tell you that like at any point you might want to revert to ish and fa, and it would be useful if I type git branch to see what my options are. Any ideas? Like why is it only showing berm right now? It's not really a trick question. It's actually yeah, it is the first one. That's why it is showing. But why am I not showing ish and fa and the master? Yeah, but I'm saying like having these others. If I typed in git branch, it's a very generic command, right? And I do want to see all my branches. It should tell me ish, fa, master, just to give me the options at least, right? So the answer is like imagine if you had 1,000 branches, and if I type git branch, you're gonna see like 1,000 options, and it'll be counterintuitive. Just little tidbits of information that like you just get to that line of thinking where you're asking yourself, right, why is it the way it is, right? Because at any point, if you're not like kind of questioning it, you're always gonna think, all right, this makes no sense because just a minute ago, you're gonna be in the wrong line of thinking that we didn't actually clone the ish branch, fa branch, where in actuality we did. So just to prove that to you, I'm gonna check out, and what that means, check out is just a way of going to another branch, right? And so it's so low. So that's if you don't specify um, another command exactly. Yeah, as in as like a default thing it does. If you just type git branch, that's just how the programmers wanted it to behave. Like if you just type in git branch, you just wanted to see all the branches. But if you start typing parameters after, you do other things with it, and I'll show you. Yeah, but that's a good question. So how do I let's say the checkout let's say if I wanted to check out the file branch, what's missing from this command? Wrong use of directory. Yeah, just the branch, right? So what do I type if I want to check out fa? Yeah, fa, right? Just as it was here, you just type it in exactly as I kind of built it out here. So branch fa set up to track remote branch fa from origin, right? And don't worry about all the verbiage, but basically now you see berm and fa, right? So slowly it's building up this little display for you, and let's do it for everyone. Just wait. Just wait. Yeah, I'm demonstrating for now. So we got berm, we got fa, now we go to ish. And now we have everyone. Let's get master in too, because that's also one of the options. All right. So now you see all the branches, right? And now for each of you guys individually, I want you to check out into your own branches. So make sure, remember again, I didn't set up branch securities yet, so you could fuck each other up. So like, make sure you go into each of your individual branches, and that's from here on out. That's where we're going to be working in. So how do you go into your own branches? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Not branch. Yeah, because you already have the branches up, right? So let me know when you're each in your individual branches. I'll stay in master. All right. So yeah, you could add master if you want, but it's already in there. It's just for just to give you a visual. But now the branch you're in should be highlighted in green for whichever one you're in, which should be your own name. You know how I checked out each of their individual ones before, right? Before you're right, you were only seeing berm because I hadn't checked out any of theirs, right? So slowly as I started checking out where's fa? So slowly as I started checking out fa, and if I hit get branch, yeah, it starts kind of amassing. Yeah, live history of what you were actively doing after you cloned. Yeah, basically. Yeah, yeah. And all right, so you guys are in, and should be good. Let me switch to master. All right, now I want to give you guys kind of a quick set of commands, and that anytime these are also going to be important. The clone part, all of this actually so far wasn't too important because you'll most likely only do it once. You'll only clone once, um, and you'll check out different branches here and there, but you won't use it like obsessively. But the following commands you'll be using a lot, and you should be, getting used to using it a lot, because anytime you make a mistake, sometime, right? You're gonna hit this compiler issue, and it could, it's never gonna be this obvious, right? And let me know, by the way, Fa or anyone, if the text is too, um, is it good, or should I enlarge it? Okay, all right, okay. So as I was saying, one thing you will do a lot is make very, very, like very obvious mistakes that you'll lose like hours just, trying to track. And it could be, the dumbest thing, like a misplaced bracket or anything like that. And you want a quick way to go back to when it was originally working, like your code, right? And let's go back to Teams for a second. JRE system. Yeah, like so your computer doesn't naturally come bundled to run Java code, right? Just like the way you want to think it, like, because you have JavaScript exposure, right? Your JavaScript, your browsers come with the ability to run JavaScript code, right? Which is why anytime you double click the HTML file, it does what you need it to do. But you know just like you downloaded a browser for that ability, you need to download Java's own like kind of background utilities to run Java code, right? Or otherwise, yeah, your machine doesn't know how to interpret this, right? Java, the JDK interprets it, right? Yeah. All right. So let me see. I just typed in reset. Um, okay. So the main things we're gonna focus on, the main let me see. So we'll do reset first. So just like a clone and checkout and branch, which is the only ones we do we no we didn't go over anyone. Just like clone, checkout, and branch, these are the other set of commands that Git has. So we'll do reset now, and I'll show you what reset does first. All right. And just like before, we'll open up as for a visual sake. We'll open up the folder, right? Everything here will be reflected over there. So say you typed in, um, let's say you typed in some kind of mistake and you're not able to track it. Right now it's very easy because you see it right here, right? So let's see how Git behaves. Um, so right now I'm in the master branch, right? And you guys do it yourself. Go into the main method and just type in whatever you want. It could be a big mistake. So let me know when you do that. No, you be in your own respective branch. So Phi should be in your own branch. Make sure you are. You guys did that? Okay. So the next big yeah, go ahead. Say again? No, folder. I'm just doing it. Anytime I open the folder up, it's just to give you guys a visual representation. And I haven't done it yet, but you don't need to open it up. This is just to show you that, just to hammer down the point that it's basically the same thing. Anything I do here, it's most likely going to get reflected right here, right? Yeah. So you just keep track of what's going on screen. So, right now you already see an error, and if I run it, this is just not going to run because it's a compiler error. It doesn't recognize what this is trying to do right here, right? And this is where Git starts coming in very, very handy, right? So one command so right now, where am I right now? I'm in the exact Java review folder with the code, right? And the first command we're gonna look into is status. Well, I said reset, but we'll do that later. So status. So type that in, and right away, I want you guys to interpret, at least this part, the .java file. So yeah, that good point. Because a lot of times the Git can't recognize what's going on here if you don't really specify it, right? So if you don't save it, it's gonna think it's in an earlier state. Saving works just like how you'd save in a Word document or something. Like anytime you hit save, that at that point the system recognizes it, not before. So yeah, save it, and then go into your terminal, which should right now be in Java review folder, and type in git status. Yeah, and get it. Yeah. So now you see this, you know, modified, etc. So clearly it noticed. You remember previously it didn't have this, right? So anytime it notices a change, it sees that a change has been made, right? And this at least, while this is not telling you exactly what went wrong, it's telling you what files were at least modified, right? So imagine tons of code, and you can at least narrow down by file. And to really hammer down the point, I'll create new classes. You guys don't have to. So let's say class 01, uh, class 02, right? And if I went down the list of these default packages, it's very helpful. At least here, it's giving you a compiler error. So to hammer down the point, because this at least the compilers tell you what's wrong. But let's say I just did some wrong logic, right? And here I just commented out. I didn't actually type in any code, but that's fine because if I control save here, you see there are no errors. But let's say I did like a um, you just think of it as like wrong logic in that I did something here. It's giving me some kind of result that I don't want. I can't really find out why, and it was working right before, right? How do I find out what's wrong? I can't do it here, right? Class of 1, 2, something's messing up the code. Um, so what's the next best option? What do you guys think? Yeah, like say I did. Okay, let me actually drive home the point a bit. And don't worry about any of this. I'll do this in a way where I know we didn't start covering Java just yet, but um, but this is going to be intuitive. It's just an add function that's just going to print the parameters. Right? And what's wrong with this right now? As a function, it should be intuitive. It's very obvious. Say that again? No, don't look at it into that way. Just try to like, take the logic out of exactly what I just did right now. Right? What's wrong with this function? If I were to run it, okay, let's say like this. If I were to run this, if my function was called add, right? And if I were to pass in 10 and 5, what would I get if I, hit run? Yeah, exactly. That's wrong logic, but it's not wrong. It's not like the compiler doesn't recognize it's wrong because this is an operation that you can do, right? It just doesn't know human logic, which is add to you and me. I'm expecting this to be 15, right? But what am I going to get? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm going to get 5. And if I'm, this is obviously ridiculous, right? You're never going to make this kind of huge error. But you never know, right? But you're getting 5 when you're thinking like, all right, why is my function that I made add 10 and 5? Why is it giving me 5? And your Java packages aren't telling you anything because from its viewpoint, you didn't make any kind of syntax errors, right? But right after you cloned it, it was working fine until you made this add change, right? So if I were to just look at this, how would I at least begin to address the problem? You guys think? Yeah, go on. Yeah, yeah. How would I do that? So I told you earlier, which right, exactly, right. So if I hit get status, it's gonna tell you exactly what changed. And obviously I added a few more classes since we cloned it, class o1.java, o2.java. So that, again, it's not gonna give you the perfect way of knowing it if you added multiple classes, but it'll at least tell you what you modified as well, right? So let's say um, let me take out class O2 and class O1 because that'll muddy up the point, right? So all I'm caring about now, so you won't see class O1, class O2 anymore because I just deleted those. It'll say that ever since you cloned it, this is all you changed. You didn't add anything because I deleted it, so it's in its regular state from which I cloned. But it did tell me I modified it, right? So status, okay. You modified it, and now if I told you, just take me back to its earlier state. Look down that list in Teams and just tell me what you guys think. What the next git command is that I should try. Yep. So tell me how I would type it. That's a better question. Yeah, but reset what? Yep. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, small distinction here. I know this class thing is kind of confusing you. Don't worry about this. What this is Java. The way you want to think of it is all these files you make here are .java files, right? But what the compiler does in the background is uh, like compilers can't interpret this is human language. It can't interpret that. So Java has a background process which takes all this, puts it into machine code, and then stores it in a thing, a class file. And to drive home that point, let me open that file and let me show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, 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 exactly. That all the the machine code. So let me show you what that looks like. See, that didn't open. All right, so this is what I just opened. So compare hello world.class to hello world.java. This is illegible, right? You can't even well, it's not illegible. There's a way to interpret this, but compare this, which is a class file, and compare this, which is a Java file. This is human readable. This is like, has random spaces and everything. But one main thing is you should never open this because remember, this ultimately gets processed through the compiler. And if you mess any kind of, little digit up here, then you're throwing it off and it's just not going to compile. So let me X that out before I accidentally type anything into it. Um, but the class file changes alongside the Java file, right? Anytime. So let's go back to what Fa was saying. Get reset. Go on and complete a Fa. Yeah. Why not? What do you think? Yeah, yeah. Oh no, no. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. But this is just yeah. Go ahead. Do your point. Yep. Say again. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, no, exactly, right? This is like some extreme example that only, you have to be a really novice coder to not see this, which is fine at first. This is actually I'm assuming everyone is novice regardless of your skill level, right? Uh, Point is this logic is not going to be so obvious in the future, right? Sometimes you're going to make a really deep kind of logical error that becomes impossible to find, and your last breadcrumb is that it was working right after, well, when you cloned it, it was working, and right after whatever you did, right, whatever you did, and there are more surgical ways of seeing it, but for now, like the best way to do it is just to restore and start again. Um, but there are other ways to do it, and that we'll go over that further down the course. But for now. Let's stick to this because a lot of times it's not going to be this obvious where it's so easy to see A minus B. And by the way, I gave you guys the wrong command. I was actually mixed that up with another command. See if well, I already typed it in. I was going to ask, see if you can find it. It's actually restore, reset to something else. So let's do that. Hang on. Yeah. Restore change, not the last commit for the whole file because remember I'm just specifying hello world.java. So let's say I created another class file with another error. Let's call it hello world 2, right? And let's say for now let's say wrong logic. Let's say this came bundled with the code after I cloned it, right? And I put some wrong logic here. Um, But since I'm specifying a specific file, this won't get touched. So you'd have to specify both. And there's a way to do it for the entire package. And it'll tell you, right? Like, let me get status. You'll see that because I added hello world 2.java. This is separate because I added it and I didn't modify it. But let's get to that point in a bit. So let me delete it. Oh, yeah? Did it work? Yeah? Yeah, perfect. Right? And just like I told you guys yesterday, if it's not returning anything, that means it worked. So I just hit Control Save. There you go, and it goes right back to how it was when we originally cloned it. Right? So anytime you make a change to a file you had already cloned that was working before, try to go back to that troublesome file by first going through that flow. Git status. What did I, mess? And a lot of times this stuff is confusing at first because they give you all these other files that are changing the background, and it's like obviously Git overcompensates, but you'll never know when it comes in handy because yeah, usually what this means is you see this .git ignore file, this .dstore file. Usually when files begin with a dot, it means you won't be able to see it, visibly, like because some files the developers don't want you to change because that would mess up the whole program, right? Nonetheless, Git recognizes it. Let me see. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. If you did, okay, say that one more time. So let's say you're in hello world.java and go on from there. Tell me what to type. Yeah. Yeah. You write a code. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Saved it. Yeah. Why would it give me an error? So okay, no, that's a good point, and I do want to make that distinction. Git's job is not to recognize error, right? That's up to your compiler, right? All Git is tracking is, all right, something changed. It could be right, it could be wrong. I don't care. I just want to make sure, I just want to keep track of changes, right? These are two separate programs. One is Java, or the JDK, Java Development Kit, keeping track of what's wrong, what's right. That's its job. This is also keeping an eye on the code, seeing what changed. It doesn't have any kind of Java. It doesn't care what you're using. It doesn't care if you're using Java, JavaScript, C++, whatever. It only cares if, and this is just not with code. If I put a random Word document, right, it even keeps track of that. Like if I started a thing, if I started like I don't know, if I was doing a resume and I typed in something extra, it would track that. It would find what you changed in that resume, right? Think of it more as like a live text feed where it sees sees what gets changed, what files get added, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But if I had stats, what do you think is gonna happen right now? Yeah, but let me see. So first you hit status, right? Get status to see what's changed, right? And then tell me what you did after. So git restore. This one, right? This, and then what happened for you? Yeah, try that. Because if nothing is returned and the code if the code returns how it originally was, that means it worked. Yeah, you should kind of get like familiar with the command S1 just to save religiously. Let me see. Let's share your screen. Let me I'm gonna close mine for a second. All right, let's see what you did. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what does that tell you right now? Right, right, right. Yeah. I feel like there's some kind of typo here. feel like you might be using, yeah, just type it in one more time. Git space restore. That is weird. No, no, it didn't. Ish, you weren't hitting this issue, right? Yeah. I feel like you're using let me see. I feel like you might be using an older version of Git. Yeah, control save there for a second. You did that? Yeah, yeah, command save. Yeah, 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 it's saved. Okay, now go back to the terminal and type in status one more time. We'll get status. All right, now again, try to restore it. Give me a second. I don't know if you're using an older version or something. Yeah, yeah. I think you're running an older version to get. Let me see how you could update it. Yeah. Um, I don't know why yours wasn't pre-bundled with it. But it's fine. This is just to give you a point of it, but we could just download a newer version afterwards. Let me see if I could quickly help you get the newer one, because I don't want to waste too much time on that. As long as you get the idea and you see it happen, you could try it on your own later. But let me quickly see if there's a quick way to get the um, latest version. Because what's happening for you is Git is just like any other program. It receives its own kinds of updates, and probably the version you're using, they just hadn't programmed the restore command in yet, which is why you're not getting it. And it tells you right there. It says the most similar command is remote, so it's probably thinking you're trying to type in remote since no one's coded in the function for restore yet. So just give me like a minute. Let me see if you could. No, no, not even close. I'll show you the commit process in a second. So let's just get to that. Don't worry about this for now. Um, no, that doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah. I'll show you the whole commit process. It's a little more technical. So just give me a second. So don't worry about the restore thing for now. As long as you see it and try it later, it's fine. Um, So another thing, and another time, so let's get back to the same flow right here. So you use the restore command, going back to restore, you use it when you modify something, like in a file that has already been cloned, right? So just like in GitHub, we go back to the Java review and go to source, and hello world has already been there, right? So once you clone this, you get the same state of how it was, right? And if you modify it, yeah, you use the restore command to revert back. But what if you add another file and that file also is messing up your flow, like something is messing up and you're not quite sure yet? So let's see what happens. So you guys could do this too. So let me add a new class file, and let's say, yeah, yeah, do it with me because you'll use this extra command coming up. Hang on. So what you want to do is right click on that, the default package, yeah. Go to new and go to class. So basically you just create a new class, right? So we'll just say problem class. Hence the idea that because we added this after cloning, it's throwing a problem, right? So let's just control save. We don't need to code any logic into it, and let's see what get status does, right? And actually, let me put in, and you could always do just put in 2 slashes. Remember, get is just tracking any changes, period, right? Yeah. You are because I also want you to show you. Yeah, I also want you to see the distinction between what happens when you modify a class that's already existing and add a new class, right? So once you do that, type in get status, and you see hello world.java, which we modified, is in its own separate category, wherein you could restore it. Untracked files is on a separate category, and that the problem class you added, right? And it's saying it's untracked in that whatever you clone from, this is something new that Git doesn't recognize just yet because you just added it, right? So let's say all right, restore. I could restore like how we regularly did. If I go to restore, so let's say I'm trying to narrow down the problem and I restore it. So source hello world.java, that's been restored, right? That goes back to wherever it was. You don't see those slashes anymore. It just reverted that. But if I click get status, there's still that problem class. There's no command. There's no command to revert this, right? I added it into it. I didn't modify a pre-existing class. So what do you guys think I should do? And this, say it again. There's no git delete, but you're getting there. No, it's actually a lot more simpler than you think. Go on, but you're in the right path. Yeah, just delete it. Yeah, yeah. So just tell me literally what I should do. Yeah, yeah. Or you could just delete it from here. Doesn't matter. Yeah, right. It's the same thing. Like there. Yeah, I'm saying that that's the easy. You should go for the easy way. You never do it the hard way, right? So let's see what happens if you get status. It doesn't recognize that class anymore, right? So a lot of times the answer is a lot more simpler than you think. Like don't look too into it. Yeah, go ahead, Fa. No, I literally went to the IDE, or I could have gone here. I could have got here. I could have went to source, and that problematic class would have been there earlier. I could have just deleted it. So a lot of times you just want to go for the simplest solutions. Yeah. What was that? Untracked is just another way of saying that. Remember, in here, if we went to source, there's no reference to it. There's no problematic class.java here, right? So it's always, anytime you're making a change here, it's comparing it to how it was in this state, right? Because right there in the source folder remembers hello world.java and it remembers nothing else. But if you put an untracked file, say again, you call this your code. Well, yeah, I guess. So just like how I did it before, you're not caring of what get tracks like. So let's say basically anything you add, it could be a class file, it could be a text file, it could be a Word document. Anything you add, it's immediately considered um, untracked, right? And I'll show you what it means to track it finally. But we're getting there. But you're good for that? So far we found out how to revert a file, hello world.java, and we found out how to delete a file so we go back to the original state. So we're back to the original conditions, right? So now you actually do want to um, uh, thing. You do want to push something, right? So let's do that. So now I just want you guys to simply print out your names. So does everyone remember how to do that? Fa, Ish, Berm. So print out your respective names and hit run and make sure your name comes out. Very simple program. And just put it in hello world. It's close, yeah. I mean, it's just one of these things you gotta slowly memorize. So, and I'll put that actually before I even do it there. I'm gonna just increase this list. Uh, Java methods. Oh, let me edit it here better. You have to go to the general room. You don't see it? You see it, right? Hang on, I'm not able to delete that. Yeah. All right, never mind. Just remember it as this. So I'll say, I'll print out my name. Yeah. So you guys, do it for yourselves, right? Yeah, S out. Berm was talking about it yesterday, that it does it automatically for you. All right. So once you've done that, um, how do I recognize the change here? You wanna get so good at this that you just keep doing it on reflex. So what do I do to make sure that I updated this file? Well, yeah, I saved it. And through Git's lens, what do I do? Just to see what's going on, like just have that live feed for myself. What do I do? Exactly. Yeah, so it tells you right there, which wasn't there just a second ago. It tells you you updated a file, right? And remember, our end goal right now is just to have something pushed to a respective branch, right? So now, slowly, we're going to see this whole commit process that you were talking about. So now type in git add. And in here, I'm going to type in dot, and I'll tell you why. And the distinction between that, um, why do I want dot, and why do I not want, okay, let me phrase it like this. Why don't I just do it like this? Git add src hello world.java. Why do I not want to? What add is doing is it's basically, think of it as preparing a bundle that's getting ready to get pushed remotely. Why am I adding? Why do I not want this? Git add source. Kazan, go ahead. Everything in everything in the directory, right? Yeah. If that was the case, then yeah, go ahead, keep going. Yeah. Okay. If that was the case, then why is it before that I only did this? Why did I not change class file? See, all I did for my sake, I just did git restore src hello. So if I did it for restore, why can't I do the same thing for add? This is kind of a tricky question. Your hint is compiler. Stay on that compiler fact. So what happens if I remember, you only see the .java file right here, and all I had to do is hit save, just like if I print something else. Let me print something else. Whatever, right? I hit Control Save, and I know if I hit run, this is gonna run. But is this, when I hit run, is it running it from the Java file? Compiling, right? There's a class file in the background that I don't get to touch, right? If I hit Control Save, what do you think is going on? Well, what's it interacting with? It's not, it doesn't actually, it's taking this Java file, right? And what is it doing? Yeah, it's compiling in the background. Like you just don't notice it because that's the, yeah, it's to give you like it's to give you that ability to run your code without worrying about the compilation process, because that should all happen in the background. So going back to the original question, anytime I hit save, the class file is being changed in the background, right? So anytime I hit restore and I hit Control Save, right, right there, what just happened right now? Yeah, this changed, but what else changed? Say that again. The class file changed, right? So that's doing it for you automatically. But you got to remember, once I'm adding something, and let me put my name back in. Once I'm adding something and I hit Control Save, right? I'm ready now. At this point, I'm telling you guys, I'm ready to push this, right? Everything, including the Java file, everything, including the class file, right? So if I hit it now, back to the original question, why is it that I want to do this dot representing and everything in this entire directory, and why not this? Exactly, because I'm specifying this. Where before it didn't matter because if I hit Control Save here, it does it in the background. If I'm adding it now, Git is only considering that Java file. It's not an IDE, right? The IDE considers a class file. Git does not, right? You guys get it? Yeah. Yeah, if I did sort, say again? No, you are. You're actually not adding sys source hello world.java because it's not taking into consideration everything else, the class file mainly, right? Because let's say I were to push this, I could do this. I could add source hello world.java. If I were to push this and it was in the repo, if someone clones it, what do you think is going to happen to them? They're not going to have that updated class file, so they're going to run into some kind of error, right? Because that class file is the most important piece. That's the machine code. So yeah, they'll see the correct logic, but because that class file wasn't updated from the original pusher, something gonna be wrong on his end, right? And he won't know what because he's looking at the code and it all looks good. So just these little small distinctions um, end up playing a big role, but just keep those in mind. So again, let's say git add dot, right? And let's see what happens when we type in ls now. I mean, sorry, git status. So now you see all these background files that we didn't even touch, but in fact are being updated, dynamically in the background. And it's not just class; it's just this git ignore file, dstore. All this is happening in the background, right? Even though us, we were just messing with this, but there's a lot of things to consider that we don't, right? But that's why Git has to pay attention. It's asking them. That's where that dot comes into importance. But someone had a question. No one had a question? Okay. So now we're getting slowly up to that step where we're getting ready to push it, right? But going in that commit, there's another procedure where I could tell you guys the eventual end goal is to use this command, git push, right? But let's see what happens if I try to push this. I get a failure, right? Um, don't take into the specifics. That doesn't matter. The point is there is a failure, right? That's where this command comes in. There's like a second step. It's like a fail safe, and what it does is type in git commit slash m, not slash. What is that? It's a dash. Yeah, dash m. That just refers to a message. You'll see the small parameters come by. Don't worry too much about this, but it is important. So type in .m and type in two double colons. And what do you guys think? Say again. Yeah, don't worry about branches just yet. The branch part is coming in slowly. But ignore this because don't type this. This is just to show you that there's an error. I'm telling you right now, this is the ultimate command at the end, right? But clearly, because I typed this in and I was getting an error, there's clearly another step right between add and push, right? So this is what I want you to type, not this, right? So git commit dash m and type. So this is what I'll type. Um, added name, right? And that's the kind of that human component because once you got, so this is just for me. This is for the coders, right? This is for me to see that file history to see what changes I made. Because yeah, it's like you guys were mentioning before. All you're seeing here is like a change in file names and everything, but you're not really specifying what you did. This is your chance to do it, right? And if I set it right here, git commit dash m added name, and I hit enter, it inserts it. And if I this is a separate command, but if I hit git log, you see that added name. Don't worry about git log too much. That's one of those background. I'll add it to this list right here as a list of methods just to get familiar with. But what git log does, basically that um, you add that history, right? So if anyone comes to check your code, they could go down the list of commits you have, right? And they see, all right, he said he did this. Let me check into his code. Maybe this is where he messed up, right? And it's not making a big difference now, but it will once your code base gets bigger. So, so that's ready. And now after you did that, yeah, go ahead. Here, well, let me do it again. Let me find it actually. Git commit dash m, and double quotes, and within those quotes, just do just you could type an added name. Yeah, yeah. So basically, one more comment. Basically, it forces you to add a comment. You can't actually get past this step without specifying the comment. That's how it's just a part of the process. It didn't have to be that way, but the original developers felt it was so important to add comments that they're saying, you can't get past this step unless you specify, that message. So okay, we got past this step. Now finally, so I'm gonna push to master, and don't worry about this origin part yet. So I'm gonna push to master because that's my branch. But instead of master, you guys should put in what? Yeah, your own branch name. And when you're ready, just hit enter. Hang on, give me a second. Yeah, make sure. Hang on. No, it's fine. Like I knew this step would uh hit a bunch of issues. So let me go down one by one because I'm hitting issues too. Just give me a second. Let me move this off screen for a second. All right, I thought my issue, but that was kind of came out of nowhere. Give me a second. Just give me a second. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah. Yeah. So I fixed my issue. But we'll address each of your individual ones. So just give me a quick second. Okay. One by one, we'll see what went on, and I'll tell you guys what messed up on my end. But that's a regular process. But share your screen and let's see what's going. Ish, were you able to do it? You were able to push it. Let me see. Yep, nice. Ish worked. So you see a lot of times, random issue. Let me see. Berm, were you able to do it? All right. So just Ish was able to do it. Yeah, so let me see. Please update your password to continue using GitHub. Uh, Unable. How do you want to update your password file and see what it does? You could do it through GitHub's thing. Yeah. Go to settings. Yeah, it's weird. No, it's I think it's because thing your yeah, I think it's still set up with Technosofts. For now, do you still remember that Technosofts? You don't, right? How do we do that? Give me a second. Oh, I got it. Hang on. If I try, don't worry about that. Try. I'm about to send you. I'll go to the DMs chat and try to run this command. Entire thing. Yeah. Oh, you got it? Go to github.com and go to your branch and see that your command is it worked. Oh, worked fine. So you typed in that command? Git. Yeah, I don't know why they suggested that. Um, all right, try something else. I'm gonna send you another. If you can find it, yeah, but if you can't, try this. I sent another. Let me check on Berm's branch in the meantime. All right, perfect. No, mm, don't see your. You didn't put in print Berm. Oh no. So look at what Ish did and go to his branch and see what he did. He printed Ish. So to specify each of your branches are individual, just print thing. No, put your name just to so I could validate that it's working. You know. So you want me to review it again one more time? Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. You put your name and let me go through that. Let me write down the process so you don't forget it. Because remember, it was pretty involved. So, all right. Yeah. If you need the cheat sheet, it's gonna be in the general chat. Oh yeah? Yeah, try that. I'll send the invite. Just give me the yeah. It was Fahim night. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So now I'll give you permissions and no, I'm gonna do it now. Just give me a second. All right, I'm about to send it to you. You said Fahim what? 93? It's not showing up. Fahim 93. Open that. Yeah. Fahim 93. You know which email? Hang on. Um, should still work. Let me separate some time to configure your machine because I think the techno thing kind of messed it up. Um, let's not waste too much time on that, but I'll get you after. So, Berm, were you able to push that in GitHub? All right. For now, just start it so we could refer to it later. Because I think you're already in. It's just getting confused in the terminal process because it's yeah. Let me work with you on that for later. Don't worry. But for now, let me see what's happening with Berm. Yeah. All right. Share your screen. Fine. You could exit out. It's fine. I'll help you out in a bit. I'll see what's wrong. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Get add. Okay. No, no. Let me just actually, yeah, you could leave because it's late for you, but and it's working for you. So I'm gonna assign some projects. Just keep an eye on that. And I assume you already yeah, if you can stay, then stay because you already know your Java. But I'm gonna start assigning projects. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna refresh file on a few things, and Berm is already familiar with it, but it's not gonna be too long. I just want to make sure you guys are good with this. But all right, go ahead. Go ahead. Berm. Y- Yeah. Yeah, yeah. What was that? No, nothing, nothing. We're just gonna move on because you're having a configuration problem. We'll address it in just a minute. I mean after the class because it's better to go with the lesson. But go on. All right. Well, what'd you do after that, bro? Go ahead. Yeah. Just do exactly what you did before. Okay. You already added it. Okay. Did you push? Okay. Yeah, that's what you missed because ultimately, remember, commit. All that's doing. Yeah, you can go back to the Teams chat and the general chat. Yeah, that's the actual part that's pushing, you know. Otherwise, it's still local. So let's do that. All right. Now let's check. Yeah, go to GitHub. Yeah. All right, now go into that hello world file. Yep, there you go. All right, perfect. All right, so Ish and Berm are good GitHub wise. Yeah. But all right, so Fa, don't worry. We'll just have to kind of uh, I'll just help you configure it because the techno thing kind of messed it up in the background. That's fine. But let me now let me kind of summarize the the end to end of that whole Git flow, just so anytime you guys get stuck, it's very easy to revert back. Because at the same time, I know I'm going to extend this lesson a bit just to cover the Java portion, just so you guys have something to work on. But it should be fine. So let me share my screen now. Wrong screen. Give me a second. Yeah, right here. All right, now just to summarize the entire flow. And I think what's going on is because I'm kind of changing the master branch around, that's why you guys are seeing errors on your own. Don't worry about that. But basically, um, get used to that flow. So I'm going to start from beginning to end. I'm going to quickly go over one more time. And just as a quick recap, and just as an end-to-end, anytime you, let's say I added a function, let's go back to that same function, except we'll maybe do subtract, just to change things up. Int A, int B, and obviously it if I do A plus B, and let me take that out, subtract A plus B, that's just to showcase the fact that, no, my bad, 10.5 like it before, and that's just to showcase the, hang on, what did I do, public static void. All right. Just to showcase that if anytime you do something, you create a function and you're getting an error in logic. If you, as long as you have Git, before anything, before you even start, you take yourself through a regular workflow. Right when you get into the code, make sure you got the terminal open. Uh, do pwd first. Make sure you're in that Java review project, and just keep at it. Keep like anytime you make a mistake and you're not sure, you've exhausted your options, always refer back to Git where you see that file has been modified. What do? Git restore. I'll have you guys call it out, but hello world.java, done. That goes back to the original case. Okay, now next, I add a class file. Problem class. I added. All right, what do? You guys just call it out. I delete it. Yeah, exactly. Delete it. If you see that if you're kind of overwhelmed, you don't know where to go, delete it and start again. Git will tell you what you added, what you didn't add. That's fine. All right, now take me through. Let's say I'm ready to push. Um, int A, int B. Don't know why they throw me errors. Oh, yeah, never mind that. Okay, let's say I want to push this. Take me through the process. Anyone? Saved it. Yep. So it turns up over here. I modified this. Go ahead. Git add. Anything else to that? Period. And And what else? Just let's say you're not ready to move on. Just to get in that reflex of what I just did. What do I do again? Yep. See, right, change in color, modified. Green means it's ready to be committed. So now what? Right. Yeah. So for instance, I'm glad you brought that up because so at this state it's been committed, right? But let's see what happens if at that state, let's say I add another function in the midst of this. So you could always make errors. All right, let's see what happens now. Get status. See, there's files that you didn't commit or you didn't add. Because right now, these are what's considered as staged. Stages is just a way of telling you if these are ready to be committed, right? These aren't because you didn't add them. I added them right after I, added these, right? So it's just another, method of bookkeeping just to tell you because I could move on from here. It'll make things a little like hazy, but say I could basically what I could do from here on, I could commit this, and then if I pushed it, I could have this, but the only thing that's going to get pushed after I commit it is over here. So that'll make things a little more confusing. So you never want to do that. You basically want to make sure everything is green before you push, right? So let me delete that. But you'll still see some modified because you see, like, you'd even notice the space probably. There, I removed the space and now everything is green, right? All right, go ahead, anyone. What now? Yeah, added. There's a specific way of committing messages where you're not supposed to refer to the past tense. I don't really know why yet, honestly, but I guess if you want to follow convention, let's say add plus method. Where do you see that? We'll get to that later, but if you want to like use heuristics to think about it, just think of it as like dot message. This is what it refers to. I mean, slash message. In a way of thinking it is, say that again. Yeah, for myself and for my fellow, programmers. So I kind of fucked up here. So let me try that again. Add plus add a method for addition, I should say. All right. Wait. Nope. You see right there, small little details I did not get. All right. Now what? What else? There's that. It. Which for me will be what? Master. Yeah, that's it. All right, so that's just the basic workflow for Git. Fi, don't worry, I'll help you out with it. And now let's just end the lesson with a few quick, Java like conventions or structures. So I know Ish and Berm, you guys are pretty recent with it. So I'll just make it a quick overview and I'll see what Fa remembers. But um, let me type out the main methods I want you to really care about right now. It won't be too much. Honestly, you only need this print line uh, convention string. So as long as you remember this, and then you remember for loops, and that's all we'll go over today. For, if, else. Fa, you're still with us, right? Fa, I think you're on mute. Yeah, okay. No, this is mainly for you because Berman-ish are already pretty much familiar with it. So I'm just going to go really quickly with it. And don't worry, because again, each of you are going to have, self-tailored thing like Jira stories. So I'm going to give you a different set of problems than Berman-ish. For them, I'm going to, give them a different set. So the way I want you guys to do homework problems is usually just have a function surrounding it. No, don't copy any of it. I'm gonna push all of this, and obviously all this is on video, so you're good, right? But basically, anytime you create a or you're ready to, produce some logic, always wrap it up in a function. Like if you remember Fa, within the main method, anytime you want to, execute something like this, you can do it like this. System.out.println word. I could print it, but I don't want it that way. I want it always through a function. And what I mean by that is type out the logic, type out a different set of brackets here, type your logic here. So instead of over there where the system print line method was, just put it in here. If that is what you were gonna do, right? So ultimately, what I want is, you call the function from here, fun01, let that run, and let it do its thing. But that's how I want it. So let me quickly go over for loops and if. Say again? No, I did. So basically, main is just the point from which all functions, execute, right? And I am assuming you guys know most of it, yeah. That's why I'm kind of going through it quick, but stop me right away if you need me to quickly go over it, right? So just get used to this convention right here. Don't get too wrapped up in what all this means. All of it will make sense later. But basically, anytime you want to create a new function, that's just what you do. Let's say public static void fun02. And I know I'm rushing, so again, please stop me. Another string, right? So, and that's just to make the distinction that if I'm done running fun01, I do fun02, and I could run that instead. And that's just how functions quickly work, right? Um, but is anyone uncomfortable with this syntax of it, or need me to go over? But basically, let's say I say I don't know, let's say Jira story 1. You would create a method for it, and then you would type your logic in here. That's all I want. You guys are all good with that? Okay. And let me see. And I guess I'll just ask you guys questions, and if you're comfortable with it or not, because again, you guys have exposure to it, but obviously everyone needs a little bit of review. So you guys are comfortable with parameters, like I'll let you take this over. So say I wanted an add function, right? So I created it right here. Take it from here. Like, what else do I need to fill in? Whether it be within these little parentheses, within the brackets, to just type it out. I kind of want to assess your abilities right now. Yeah, right. But I need a bit more. Or let's say, obviously I need parameters, right? Because yeah, yeah. Define it, right? So this has to know that it's gonna take in integers, right? Because to have an add function, you need to accept parameters, right? So such that 5.5 or 5.6, 5.11, right? Do you remember how to do that? Yeah, yeah, like this exactly. And you have to specify integers why, because sometimes you want to use a data something else like a I don't know, a string that called a. But in this case, we're just right, using integers, right? All right, keep going. Now you want to put out the logic, and we're not using return statements. Don't worry about that right now. All I want to do is print the sum. So what would I do? And take these into consideration. These are for your own. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. See, and you control save, and that way there's no compiler errors. If I hit run, you'll see the 10. Okay. Now from end to end, do a subtract. uh, we'll yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, and let me see if you remember this. What if I want the output to be, for add, if I want the output to be the sum of, let's say I want the output to be like this. The sum is X. So X would be whatever, you know. And this I think Berm you could pitch in because I think Ish already knows. There's an error, right? You're in the right track, but just a little bit more. Let's see if you could recall it. This is purely recall, so yeah. Anything else? We still see an error. Yeah, yeah, I mean, not. Yeah, it does kind of matter in this case. Yeah. Anything else we're missing? Nope, not a bracket. Berm, you remember? Ish, you want to take a guess? So basically, how do I want to make this error go away such that my output is the sum is 10? You know, this is just recall. It's nothing. No, not a semicolon. So it's just a plus. So it's just really just to tell the compiler it's a distinction between this is a string and whatever this is. And if you want to even use it easier for you, just think of it as like math. So you could put extra parentheses if you want. If it makes it more legible for you, it doesn't matter. So you know compiler errors, right? So if you hit this, print, the sum is 10, right? And the same thing if I put whatever. The first Yeah, yeah. So it recognizes it because first you come in with a string, and then if it's saying, all right, he had a plus after a string, that means he wants to do something called concatenation, right? And then it knows like everything after is just appending it to it, right? But it knows because of these, in this case you don't need the parentheses, but it's usually better to just put it in just in case. But basically it sees that these are integers defined right here, right? And then it just adds it here, and then it concatenates to that. So there's small, tiny distinctions, but that's a key to it. So you guys know how to print. What else? Let's. No, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's the point of this. No, no, that's fine. Trust me. But let's just cover for loops and if else statements, and then we'll be good to go. That's all I needed to cover because that you need a lot of that. So let's say um, print if more than 5, right? So I'm just creating a function. Don't worry about what it does right now, but it takes in a parameter, right? And let me see how much I want to tell you guys and not. So um, all right, let me give you the kind of um, the skeleton of it, right? And I'll let you fill it in. So ultimately, um, okay, no, no, let me not type that, and I'll let you guys fill it in. Um, well, yeah, Berman-ish, like just be upfront. Like, is this? Do you need this? Because I mainly want to just kind of, get FOB to speed because I feel like you guys already know it. it yeah, yeah, I think because mainly I want Fa to get refreshed because I know you guys have recent exposure. So right now I'll let Fa kind of take it away, but Fa, let's see how much you remember. with if and else statements. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, keep going. So right, so it accepts a parameter, right? So let's put it right here. Print if more than 5, right? So to see, I guess see it from the end goal first. What's this gonna print? What do you think? Or what? Go ahead. No, so basically what I want for the program is just to spit out saying that yes, this is more than 5. No, this is not more than 5, right? So if I were to put it like this, what do you think? Yeah, that's fine. Integer is what? No, I don't even need to, for this case, forget about that. Let's say it's just a string for now. So what do you want the string to say? Anything you want. Or integer is greater than 5, right? Yeah, yeah. And how about here? Uh, no, it's fine. I'm just asking for a string, nothing else. No, because I already put the else statement for you here, right? Let me zoom it out a bit. Yeah, anything. So basically this would say integer is not greater than 5, right? Yeah, I'm not asking for anything complicated, don't worry. So let's try that. So what's this gonna print if I hit run? Yeah, and let's try 3. All right, yeah, and not greater than 5, right? Very, 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 very simple stuff. And lastly, I just want to go over a for loop. Uh, Print x times. It'll be slow to come. I know. Berm and Ish are familiar with it, but that comes more with problem solving, and you'll pick it up across the week. I don't want to overdo this lecture. Um, yeah, but right now I'm just going over the constructs like if else. Say it again. Yeah, that's why I don't want to get into nest. We have more weeks. It's just like, the first couple of days. Don't worry about that right just yet. It'll be a simple problems at first, and I'll assess each of your skills. Don't worry about that. All right. So let me just put out. No, that's fine because remember the Teams chat is always available. Yeah, I know, I know. That's why I'm gonna have, for one, the video is gonna be up, and then I'm gonna have like a general, all of this up and then some. So you can always refer to it. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna give you problems. That's fine. And if anytime you have issues with it, Teams is always up, right? So don't worry about it. That's the point of it. But I'll tailor each of your stories, so something to worry about, right? So let's go over the for loop really quickly. So you just have to get used to the fact that just memorize this part. All right, this you just gotta kind of internalize, and okay, print x times 10. So naturally, let's say I just wanted to print an asterisk. Print x times. What's going on here? Oh, I don't know. Okay, so I'll say print 10 times. No, sorry. We'll do x times. All right, I'll fill in this part. And clearly there's an error right now, but don't worry about that. So how do you think I fill this in, Fa? So obviously I just push in a number into it, right? I want to take that number and I just want to print it however many times I specify. So if I say 10 here, right? I want that 10 to be locked in here. So how do I do that? You already did it here, so just say it again. You're just filling out the method. So all I want from you is to fill out the remainder. Yep. Where? Yeah, in the cursor, right? Right. So now it recognizes the X actually refers to something now, right? Okay. Now, yeah, whatever you want I kind of willingly say it like this just so you could see that you're overthinking it sometimes. Like if I wanted to print it, then this is what I print, right? And let's say it's 10 times. So what can I expect right now? What's gonna happen? Why would it print zero? I mean, what is it gonna print here? Why numbers? Because it starts with a number here, right? But what am I printing? Yeah, yep, exactly. That is what is happening, right? But why are you saying that it's printing out a number? Is what I'm asking. Because what is it printing out actually? Yep, those small things like that, right? So yeah, you're right. That I just wanted to see if you remembered the for loop, and you do. That's exactly what it's happened. I is referring to the number where it starts. It's less than x, which you define as an integer right here, and this part is just telling it to add on to that zero, right? Okay. But say at some point here, I don't let's say when I is equal to 4, don't I don't want to print. So take your knowledge of this, what you just did there, and apply it to here. So obviously all I want to do is change some logic here. So how would I change it? Let's delete this. Okay. All right, let's say I'll put the skeleton for you. Let me finish that for you. Else. Okay? So far so good. Go on. Huh? No, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just doing what you're telling me to do right now. So okay, why not? No, keep going. We'll see what happens. But if you want to change anything, let me know. But keep going, and then we'll see. So the only thing we're worried about is as long as x equals 4, just don't print anything. Otherwise, go ahead and print whatever you want. Wait. No, no, no. It's say again. Go ahead. Oh, okay. Let's make it more simpler. Let's say if x is equal to 4, you print out, I don't know, an a instead of an x. So how would I do that? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You ready to run it? All right. So let's give it a big what? Say again? Don't worry about that. I don't know why it's doing that either. Should work. Oh, now it works. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. So what are you expecting? Let's say before we hit this. So earlier we got 10 X's, right? But what are you expecting now? Right. Yeah. Basically, you're expecting an A in this pattern, right? All right. Hang on. I think I forgot to save it. Hang on. Okay. So what did you get instead? So I just hit run, right? We got all X's, right? You said that, Fa? Who was that? Who said I equals 4? Yeah, yeah, that was it. But let me see if why is it? Why do you think Fa that is? Well, that's what I is incrementing to, right? But what is X? What is X in actuality? Well, so X is always what? What do you think? Exactly, right? Because that's the only number I actually put in. X, that's just the number you're comparing it against. That's not getting incremented. It's always I, right? So let's see what happens. Yeah, exactly. Right there. You get your A now, right? Just little, very little small distinctions like that. But outside of that, I think don't worry too much. Tomorrow I'm gonna help you with your background configuration, but let's end it here. I know this. Say again? No. Let me just